The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show would like to acknowledge the traditional land owners and the leaders past, present and emerging of Ngunnawal, Ngambri and Darawal countries where we are working from today. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Oh god, this episode has to be one of the worst ones.
That's just me slapping in sunscreen, mate.
I just feel like I'm there. I'm not there for a rectal exam. It's there for just, just a quick check.
Mate, we can always schedule you for that. It's just going to cost up.
Aussie.
Here's an update. I think there's two seagulls having sex next to my car. This is the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
So film it and create a new platform called Only Goals.
NFL.
Yeah, I'm not even believing that. I'm sorry, but I'm not even believing that.
Fantasy.
This is the weirdest fucking... I'm sorry, I'm rattled.
Oh my gosh. Just went from bad to worse. Oh god.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
How much of this will Matty cut out, by the way?
I don't know, probably.
This is
Sorry, I just got AIDS then.
They're so sweet and fresh. Really? Yeah. Thanks for calling Pastries. Thanks for calling Pastries. Pastries. I got all my pastries. Pastries. We get 'em while they hot. We get 'em while they hot. We get 'em while they hot. I got all my pastries and I got 'em while they hot.
It's going to be a strange week here on the show because kick it off, we've just walked into the studio, no Taylor, but it means that I've got my partner in crime, my partner in commentary, my partner in Western Wankers ownership, Manjot, Melly, brother.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh man, it's been a busy week.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to even be on the show because a ton of exams, uni prep and everything. I'm still getting set up for the show in the background here, trying to get all the colors and everything right. But yeah, it's been a tough week. So I've only got limited time. So I've only been on half of the episodes this week. So,
Such is the wildness of the week that we're up a little earlier than Taylor. He's probably still snoozing, and we've got to get this done so you can join the segments we do together, and then you can bugger off and actually do important stuff where, in the scheme of things, not as important as success at uni, right?
Yeah. Look, I'm just trying to be the best. Trying to be the best at everything. Trying to be the best NFL analyst in Australia, gridiron analyst in Australia.
I don't think there's any question you are. I don't think there's any question on that.
and I'm still trying to be a 20-year-old uni student on the side. So it's a weird, busy life I have. So, I'm just glad that you guys allow me to balance everything this week. Very appreciated, Matty, and of course Taylor as well. I'll say that again when Taylor's on. But I'll definitely be back for starts of the week. But of course, I couldn't hand off the Pastry Performer of the Week awards to anyone else. I had to be on. I had to keep on my record sort of pace for most consecutive weeks.
You're on a streak.
Yeah. I think I'm on a longer streak than both of you, so I want to keep that going.
Yeah. Taylor had the COVID week, and I had the broken chicken wing week, which I'm still still living with. A couple more weeks. But look at that. You're the mainstay of the show now, and
I'm the only one that's been on all 53 episodes this year since we rebranded, plus the playoff shows.
But plus all the playoff shows. So you date all the way back into like December or something, like maybe even November. I think we had you on the shows immediately before we rebranded too. So you might be on about a 70 show streak at the moment.
Yeah.
I broke my 200 show streak. I felt very sad about that.
Yeah. I don't like breaking streaks. I remember when I used to go to band, I had about a 3-year streak of not missing a band lesson. And then, since then, since the streak broke, it was like, shoot, I haven't been back to band since then, but
EWO, miss you, brother. The old Gin and Darrow world order.
They'll come back. Yeah, hopefully I'll come back someday, but I think, my podcasting life might be getting in the way of the trumpet, but,
your media has blown up. Like, that's undeniable. You are everywhere in the gridiron media over here now.
Yeah. Look, once I get into holidays at uni, my practice bit of trumpet, record a few themes to the show here and there, maybe. Give myself a bit of motivation. But to give myself a bit of motivation this week, I do want to hand out some pastries.
Oh yeah, and you
I
had to work
think-
really hard to avoid getting banned for this show to make sure you got your uni work done. So it was hard to make sure we struck a balance to keep your streak alive. So
Yeah.
no one else is even nearly qualified to hand out pastries. So it couldn't be anybody else. We would have had to just drop the segment, and I think Australia
Yeah.
would have not known what to do. The USA would have not known what to do. So
Yeah.
with all that in mind and teeing it up like that, man, it was a crazy week 8, right?
It was. I still managed to catch every game despite being a busy uni student.
Really?
I still managed from the Ravens
You're
to
a
Bucks
unicorn.
all the way to Browns and Bengals. I caught every game, pretty much watching Red Zone on Monday morning, plus the Niners game, and then of course all the primetime games. I'm always catching them. So that's always how I do it. That's how I catch every single player in the league.
I know that the Jags game in London was a little tricky because of timing, and I got you back on that one. But when you turned
I
up,
actually
we
missed
gave up
it, yeah.
touchdowns, man. I mean, God, I'm glad you buggered off.
Yeah, I actually missed it. Yeah, I actually woke up like halfway through because
Well,
no
I
one
got
was
you.
like,
I got you, man.
yeah.
You think I'm going to miss one of these games?
Yeah,
course.
don't worry.
Got you,
couldn't
brother.
not. I couldn't not. But yeah, look, let's get into the Pastry Performer Awards,
I'm ready.
before we all have to sleep when Taylor comes in. So
Yeah,
the
I'm
rookie
ready.
Pastry Performer, catching from his namesake, the other Wilson on his team, from Zach Wilson. He passed it to Garrett Wilson 6 times for 115 yards. For the Jets, Garrett Wilson deserves a rookie Pastry Performer. He's been
Agreed.
one of the best rookie wide receivers this year. I think Garrett Wilson definitely, he's on the come up here. We've seen Elijah Moore. He hasn't had as many targets because this dude, Garrett Wilson, has been an amazing, amazing player so far in his rookie season and his career with the Jets. So, Garrett Wilson, first Pastry Performer, welcome to the club.
Yeah,
A
better than
couple-
advertised too. Hey, he's been playing pretty well. I mean, a couple of quiet weeks there, in the transition from Flacco to Wilson, but now I think Zach Wilson's kind of just locked in, brother. He's got a mind meld now.
Yeah, it's weird how on the NFL, the Pepsi Rookie of the Week, they've had Sauce Gardner, Brees Hall, Sauce Gardner,
Pepsi
Brees
Rookie of the
Hall.
Week.
They've had 4 Jets in a row. I'm sure there's some voter fatigue from everyone else, but let's see. Let's see.
How have they not had a Seahawk as a Rookie of the Week? Because the Seahawks seem to have just blitzed this draft too, to be honest. But anyhow, maybe they're not as sexy as big market New York. But hey, man, look, I can't disagree with you because I think it's 100%. We were Elijah Moore owners earlier in the year, and it's been tough because these younger blokes have just kind of taken it over.
Oh boy, yeah, it's been tough sometimes for the Jets, especially against the Patriots. But look, the shining light was Garrett Wilson this week, so I think he deserves it. A 3rd straight Jet to win the rookie Pastry Performer award. That's pretty good. The franchise is on the come up, I think. So yeah, good for them. They're doing pretty well.
Who did Pepsi think they are stealing the Pastry Performer award though and calling it the Pepsi Rookie of the Week? Like, who do they think they are, mate? You need to go sort them out.
Not good enough. Not good
Can we
enough.
get our crack legal team on that, by the way?
Yeah.
Anyhow, okay, carry on. That's one for the week. I'll note that and send it off. Carry on.
Yes. So I went with the Aussie Pastry Performer next
Yes.
off. I've got Jordan Mailata, and I think he played pretty well against the Steelers. And this is one highlight of him absolutely destroying Miles Jack in a block. He just comes from the side and boom, lays him out. And the next thing you know it, Miles Jack is on the floor. So I think, yeah, it's just, I mean, Mailata has had a bit of an up and down season so far, but I think he deserves an Aussie Pastry Performer this week for his efforts against the Steelers. So yeah, I'll give him that one. Other guys, I'll give an honorary one to Michael Dixon as requested by Matty because he did pretty well as well. I think
he single-handedly beat the Giants. I said that in pre-show. He was the reason they beat the Giants. No one else.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I can upgrade it. I can upgrade an Aussie Pastry Performer if you want.
An Aussie Pastry honorary mention. A second-rate pastry, all the same, going to Michael Dixon's mansion in Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's the Aussie Pastry Performer. I'm Jordan Mailata. You can also put Michael Dixon there as well. That's the second one. Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, defensive page performers now with
Ooh, okay.
6 tackles and 2 interceptions. I want Devin McCourty. He had a great game against the Jets.
Wow.
I thought he's a pretty good safety. He deserved my AFC Defensive Page Performer of the Week award. McCourty, he's been a solid safety for the last couple of years. So, sorry, the last decade, pretty much.
Last
Not couple.
225
Yeah.
years. Yeah, gosh, they started since they started printing paper money. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see he's still doing this because what is he like 33 or 34? Super
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, he's done pretty well across his career, and I think he deserves a pastry for this game. He's been a consistent performer pretty much for an entire decade. So yeah, McCourty still got it, still got a couple interceptions. Only player in the league who had 2 or more interceptions this week.
Wow.
And then for the NFC page performer, changing the game against the Cardinals for the Vikings, I went with Zadarius Smith, 7 tackles combined, and of course 3 sacks. He was a monster against that Cardinals O line, and I thought Zadarius Smith easily had to be the page performer of the week, in my opinion, for the NFC. So yeah, did
Do you
pretty
think
well
the
for the
Packers
Vikings.
watch him and just go, what do we do? Do you think that happens just in quiet moments in Packer HQ? They just go, why do we let him go into division?
Yeah, why would you do that? I mean,
Well,
today we even saw the Vikings pick up TJ Hawkinson, and I was like, why did they do that? Because that just seems so stupid in hindsight. But yeah, these sort of moves, you don't give a good player to a division rival. That's
no.
why, because it always comes back to bite you.
Yeah.
And Zadarius Smith, 100%. That one comes back to bite the Packers a
They
bit.
could well get swept by the Vikings this year. Not so.
Yeah. And
Yeah, yeah.
speaking of division rivals, let's go on to the offensive page performance. AFC.
Okay.
This one has to be obvious. We're talking about division rivals. Well, there's a famous division rivalry between the Titans and the team in their old city, the Texans. And this one dude has been dominating that rivalry, especially the last 4 times he's played in that exact matchup. I'm talking about Derrick Henry. Another 200-yard game against the Texans. I was very, very blessed to be a Derrick Henry fantasy owner in the Content Team League, because Derrick Henry, absolutely, I thought he deserved a pastry for that. That's definitely next level sort of thing. We don't see that anymore with running backs, and there was a ton of running backs to give awards to this week. So Derrick Henry, I reckon he deserved one of them, because Derrick against the Texans, it's a mismatch, and the Texans never
free
ever
money. Yeah.
know how to stop him.
It's free money. And like, you could have given it to Kenneth Walker, or you could give him to Travis Etienne. You can give him to these running backs all day. But you know, like Henry has, what is it? I think he's got 6 200-yard, 2-touchdown games. And that's the most in history behind, you know, if you wanted to make Derrick Henry versus the Texans its own thing, he would have second. 4. And it would be second ahead of people like, only LaDainian Tomlinson and some real freaking heroes. So it's bananas, really bananas. And you're about to become a Derrick Henry owner in the Astros Keeper League too when you take over TC's team. So you know I was trying to trade TC for Derrick Henry, and he won't let him go.
I've been fielding a ton of calls for him. So look, you're not the only one, Matty.
I'll send you what I sent to TC that he rejected out of hand, because he's like, I'm not considering anything. It's not because it wasn't a good offer. He'll tell you it was a shit offer, but it was a good offer.
Yeah, I've been fielding hit calls for Henry in the Content Team League as well. So and I struggled to trade him.
What do you have to get back? You know, like
I put it at least an elite sort of wide receiver or running back. That's what I said. So you're
going to trade him for an elite running back, but he's an elite running back anyway. So what's the point? Like, it's tough to get a price for him, right?
Yeah, you've got to give me a lot if you want Derrick Henry off me. That's a warning to any of the owners in that league.
Correct.
That's for sure. And a guy I really want on my team, who I really want to trade for, and who my actual NFL team traded for recently, Christian McCaffrey, of course, got my NFC offensive page performer. And that was a very special performance. Had a touchdown in the passing, rushing, receiving games. Christian McCaffrey, what a buy for the Niners. Anyone who said he was a terrible trade for the Niners. You guys were wrong. We got the guy that we wanted, and I think Christian McCaffrey definitely proving that this game for sure. His first full game of the playbook he knows. It's just good.
And that's what he can do on one game, right? So it's like the last person, I don't know if you saw this too, but the last person to do the triple crown of, a passing, receiving, and a rushing touchdown was only Christian McCaffrey. So like Shanahan knows what he's getting and knows how to deploy it. It's a disgracefully good match made in heaven, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an amazing match made.
This is one of these things where if all the other NFL owners could just veto it because they're like, it's not fair that he goes to that roster. Taylor was talking about this one a couple of weeks ago. It's like people vetoed a trade between him and someone else. It's like, well, we just don't want this guy having Saquon and CMC on his roster at the same time. It's just not fair. You don't get to make that decision. But yeah, I can imagine the NFL owners being like, this doesn't seem okay.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, this year in fantasy, both Saquon and CMC have been doing pretty well. So yeah, it's a weird one. So that could have been a trade from this year. That would have been very unfair. Now my fantasy football pastry performer.
Yes.
He scored the most in PPR fantasy. I'm using sleeper sort of scoring for PPR here. He actually scored the most points out of the running back position as well. Out of anyone, it was a running back that outscored everyone this week in fantasy. I had to go with Alvin Kamara. He was just incredible against the Raiders. He dropped a 43 in fantasy in PPR. He had 18 carries, 62 yards, a touchdown, 9 catches on his 10 targets, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So one of those running backs with 3 touchdowns this week. It was a long list of running backs this week who had 3 touchdowns. And Alvin Kamara, he just did it in a unique way with 2 of them being receiving touchdowns. So well done to Kamara. He deserves a pastry performer for that, for sure.
100%. Just for those who've forgotten what Alvin Kamara can do too, because I think anyone who owned Kamara this year, like you couldn't have traded him because he's Alvin Kamara, but he was a tough own, right? Until now, because he had a couple of weeks injured. That offense hasn't really been the Saints offense that we know. So for those who've stayed in the flames with Alvin Kamara and haven't been tempted to just offload him, you were handsomely rewarded, and so is Alvin. Nice big pastry coming to your mansion down in New Orleans, mate.
Yeah, Nola, and of course, this got to leave a tough choice for the Pastry Performer of the Week award.
I don't envy you for this. This is a tough one.
This week was a tough one. There's so many good players, especially at running back, and I had to choose one of these running backs that were just great. There was guys like Kamara, McCaffrey, Henry. We've just talked about all 3 of them.
Yeah.
You've also got guys like Pollard, Nick Chubb, Donta Foreman. They all had good games at running back. And then there's guys like Jalen Hurts throwing 4 touchdowns at other positions. It was a crazy week. Tyreek Hill still getting all of his fantasy points out there.
And Waddle.
And Waddle. Yeah, god dang, they have so many good receivers in Miami. They just got a good one. My boy Jeff Wilson Jr. today. Very sad to see him go. But,
and Bradley Chubb on the defense. They're getting angry down there in South Florida. They're getting angry.
Yeah, they're getting stacked, but unfortunately, one of the Miami Dolphins not Pastry Performer of the Week this week.
Nope.
I went with, and you guys are all going to hate me for it, I went with Christian McCaffrey because I know a ton of people will be calling this bias. A ton of people will see half of my last Instagram posts have been about Christian McCaffrey because he's the only guy I've been able to talk about while I've been on my exam hiatus from Pastry Press. But yeah,
anyone who looks at your screen right now and sees red behind you, red in front of you, red on your hat, red on your shirt.
Yeah, it's all Niners. And look, Christian McCaffrey, 100%. I thought it was just a special performance. He was the first guy since LaDainian Tomlinson in 2005 to have a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in the same game. So I think he deserves it. If you're up there with LaDainian Tomlinson, you've got to be pretty good. So he had the 1-for-1, 34 yards and a passing touchdown, 18 carries, 94 rushing yards and a touchdown, 8 catches, 55 receiving yards and a touchdown. Like I said, he was the first since LaDainian Tomlinson in 2005 to do that. And I think also Walter Payton did that as well as running back. So yeah, only 3 running backs in history have ever done that, and McCaffrey's one of them up this week. So, look, congrats to Christian, congrats to everyone involved for getting a pastry. Let's run it through again, of course.
Give us the
We've got
recap.
Yeah, we gotta get the recap, especially about social medias as well. You can find it here. All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Rookie pastry performer. I went with Garrett Wilson, catching passes, 6 catches for 115 yards against the Patriots. The Aussie pastry performer, Jordan Mailata, he laid a nasty block on Miles Jack, so he deserves that one. And of course, the defensive pastry performers, Devin McCourty, 6 tackles, 2 interceptions. And of course, NFC, I went with Zadarius Smith, 7 tackles, 3 sacks against the Cardinals. And of course, with the offensive page performance, Derrick Henry, another 200-yard day against the Texans.
The king, hail the king.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, he had a big day, 1 pass, 1.
He had a big
rush,
day.
1
He didn't have a big day. He had an enormous day.
He had an enormous day, as Matty C just said. Yes, indeed. Had an enormous day.
Piss off.
Yeah. And then the fantasy page performer, another dude with a big day, Alvin Kamara. He had 43 fantasy points with those amazing numbers he had with those 2 receiving touchdowns and 9 catches. Just an amazing day for him. Of course, the page performer of the week, I did go with McCaffrey because, man, that was just a special performance. First guy since LaDainian Tomlinson to have a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in the same game. So that was a good performance by him. Congrats to everyone for getting their pastries.
Mate, that is it is a king-size performance from Christian McCaffrey. And I mean, if that's what he can do after only having sort of 10 days in San Francisco, it's going to be dangerous for everybody involved because our team's only going to get healthier. Like, they can't possibly get less healthy. So it's only going to get better. And they're already in the, the 6th seed now. It's not the 7th, the 6th seed, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're looking good.
7th seed, yeah. I think, look, the way I'm seeing it, it could be like a double negative where you can have an injury-prone Niners team and an injury-prone Christian McCaffrey. They might cancel each other out and actually have some good health. So, fingers crossed I didn't just jinx that. I'm touching all the wood on my table right now. Because, yeah, touch all the wood you have. But look, let me just say, you can hopefully find these. I'll try and upload these on our Aussie NFL Fantasy socials, the Pastry Press socials, of course. And, we're getting our new YouTube handle. I'm pretty sure it's going to be youtube.com/@Aussie NFL Fantasy to find us on YouTube now. I'll sort that out, Matty. I'll probably change it myself, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll have that up by the time this publishes, I reckon. So it's probably safe to say.
Yeah, it's safe to say. I think I'll get that done for us if Matty doesn't. So we'll be all good. Of course, Pastry Press on Instagram. Yeah. Let's get some YouTube numbers going. If you guys really love our content, of course, share it to everyone. Subscribe to us. Of course, Marky Mark. We're going to try and get him on YouTube as well because the No Huddle Dynasty show can be a very, very good one for YouTube. And all of you Dynasty owners, right now it's only on Spotify, but he's
coming to YouTube. He is coming to YouTube. So for those who haven't caught it yet, there's 3 episodes out there on Spotify now, but every episode from now is going to be also on the YouTube. So he'll have a 4th episode coming out pretty soon. And it publishes on his own Spotify a couple of days before it comes to us, which is probably fair enough, but we love to support him, and he's a great part of our network because we talk a little bit of Dynasty here. Incidentally, we're not a Dynasty show. He's a Dynasty show, and he is probably the premier Dynasty commentator here in Australia. So I really urge you guys to get involved and help support Marky Mark. The nice quick hits, 15-minute, 20-minute shows on the long form of the game. And I kind of love that there's that duplicity of that. It's a short format for the longest format.
Yeah, eventually me and Mark got to do a IDP league sort of episode.
Yeah, you guys need to collaborate. There's no 2 ways about that.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're going to have some fun. He's probably going to join us in off season as well for some great content. So definitely give him a follow. He's a good dude. Deserves all the support in the world, for all the stuff he's done for us as well.
And your Pastry Press, okay, you've had a bit of quiet time now while you've been focusing on bigger things, but at Pastry Press NFL on the YouTube and on the Instagram and also on the Twitter.
Not on YouTube. Twitter, not on YouTube. We don't have the YouTube. Look, the Twitter is at the Manjot T. The YouTube, I just use Aussie NFL Fantasy now for my YouTube sort of pursuits. But of course,
Shove
MM live
everything there,
streaming.
mate. You can put
Yeah.
anything Pastry Press through the Aussie NFL Fantasy. We'd
Yeah,
love to have
easy.
you.
Easy, yeah. Look, yeah, I'll be back on Pastry Press NFL once my exams finish on Friday. I'll have probably
Yep.
Saturday a degree course, and then Sunday I might take a day off. But from Monday next week, I'll be all in Pastry Press for the next 2 or 3 months.
With what we're looking at, it is not great.
Look, Goff, I was looking at him in the first round.
He wasn't, but I was rattled at wide receiver this week. I guarantee I go last.
Yeah, wide receiver is very, very interesting.
I'm not sure about really any of them, so we'll just say per Dr. Google.
Yeah, I wasn't actually, I was thinking about picking him up, but then, yeah, I just didn't. I'm going with Irv Smith Jr.
Ooh,
The
nice.
Old
Smooches.
smooches will have to wait.
Stitches, I was ready for that one.